I made a few notes, so I hope that you don't mind. The Committee to Save Jefferson County is our organization, and we've been on the front line of every major battle in the black community for the last 30 years. On the way over here, I got word and heard on the radio that the county judge just decided in favor of the plaintiffs, and we were some of the people, our members were some of the people as plaintiffs in the case of the county gerrymander. So I just wanted to come up here and announce to you that I've always said that if we could get the county commission a fair maps, and if we could get the people to where we can have proper representation in the county, because they had squeezed us into those two districts, even though our people had continued to move further and further in Jefferson County. So I'm here to say I renounce my retirement, because I say I could retire, I could go home. I've been doing this for 43 years. 43 years. And I just wanted to say that when our co-chair, Ms. Marcia Forrest, who is the showrunner, the person that's in charge of everything, she is the organizer. So when you see stuff on Facebook and when you hear people talking about the organizer and that the organizer is working for JT, they must be talking about her. Because JT sure ain't showed me what the pay line was. I went down to city council today and asked him, they say I work for you, where do I go to get paid? So we just want to make that clear. We have a newspaper. I am the publisher of a newspaper that we do in the community. And JT supported it by getting an ad for his campaign. But so did Clinton Woods. So did Crystal Smitherman. So did even President Darrell O'Quinn, even though he wasn't running against anybody. He put an ad in the paper advising people to vote. So that's not true. And I was really hurt over it. You know, because I told Marcia when she asked about doing this, I said, well, I'm not for this because, you know, politicians are lie. But she just stayed on me, so I relented. And we did it, and I just want to let you know that we planned all of the month of June. We had 2 or 3 meetings a week planning this. We planned to do every district in the city of Birmingham and then do the mayor's forum. And they were called forums. And we contracted with, connected with, worked with our friend and brother, Jarvis Escott, what's happening in Birmingham. And even though I didn't want to do it, because you know, as I told her, politicians will lie. We did it, and Jarvis screamed it on what's happening in Birmingham, and he screamed it on the internet, YouTube, and it blew up. We had thousands of people who would view these forums. Now, when we did what we do, and we generally meet at the Inslee Rec out in the western side of town, but when we do what we do, if we can get 100 people in the room, then man, that's you know, it's full. We were happy, but we were getting thousands. And then something happened. The last one we were supposed to do, we did District 8 at the Inslee Rec Center. We did District 9 at the church on 20th Street in Inslee. We did Districts 1 and 4 at the Guiding Light, which our brother Brian Gunn did attend. And he had no problem with the organizer at that point. We got the Black Contractors Association to sponsor it. They paid for the services of having the screen. And we did that. And then we did District 6 and District 7 around Wesley's church out in West End. But we got ready to do the big one, the mayor's forum. We had contracted. One of our members is a member of the city club downtown. We were going to do this big thing downtown. And he was going to pay for the refreshments. I mean, we were going to have hors d'oeuvres and all that stuff. And I was looking forward to it. The Monday before, we get a call. And when we got that call, it said, oh, there's been a mix-up. We got the counselor. So we said, wait a minute. It's a lot of these forums being canceled around here. And I don't remember that in my history. Like I said, I've been doing this 43 years. A lot of this stuff being canceled. That ain't likely. We could name several places that have been canceled. So we went to the news meeting and we said, somebody need to look into this. And so we moved it to the Fraternal Order of Police. And when we moved it to the Fraternal Order of Police, when we went there, we could not get in. It was filled with people, just like this is full of people, but it was no seats, no parking. The news media came and they stayed all night. And that particular night, we had, how many? 33,000 views. It blew up. So our goal is to try to get people to get involved in the election process. Because if you don't get involved in the election process, then you are subjecting yourself to be misused. 20% turnout, I said this to the city council today, a 20% turnout is not a sign of strong leadership. It's not a sign of voter apathy. It's a sign of hopelessness. If only 20% of the people who live in the city come out to vote to decide who are going to be the ones that's going to call the shots and make the decision, then that means the people have given up. So we're doing that for this reason. We found a way to get people more involved, to get people more engaged. And that's the reason why we were doing this. Not because we are working with somebody that we want to win. We did the same thing when we had a runoff between Representative Kevin Datcher and Mr. Frank Woodson. They both came out. They did it. They got a chance to go back and forth with each other. They got a chance to challenge the questions that each one asked. And in the end, it was such a beautiful event that they hugged each other because they saw they were not that far apart in what they believed in. That's the kind of thing that we're talking about doing. So, I just want to say, I am offended. I'm offended because I've been out here working in the community before some of these people running for office was even born. And God revealed to me, and I got to let y'all know what God revealed to me. These people running don't know shiggity, and they ain't done shiggity. And so they're trying, in my opinion, to avoid you, to not to have to come out to be seen before you. And then they want to take and beat up on the old man for trying to do the work that he's doing. So we are glad to have you out. Let me see, did I say everything I need to say? Okay, I think I said everything I needed to say. So I just want you to know that it's in good faith. That's not saying that anybody is a bad guy. Brian is a great guy. I talked to him. I talked to other candidates, and all of them said the same thing. Let me get with the team. So I'm trying to find the devil, Pastor Wild. I'm trying to find the devil. And I think I found the devil. The devil is the team. Because all of them keep saying the same thing. Let me get with the team. So what team is that? Is that a team of people who are working to get these folks to stay away from you so you won't realize that they don't know nothing and they ain't never done nothing? Because you are in a position, and I hold us responsible. We're responsible. You're in a position to where you vote unintelligently. You vote based on somebody you trust, telling you to vote for this person. But you never seen these people in no position or no office or do nothing. I mean, you know, I talked to a young lady and she said, well, that's why they said, watch what people do, not what they say. So we have to work hard. I know I said I was retiring, but before I retire, we got to work hard because our goal for next year is to raise the voter turnout up 10%. So I'm sorry, honey, I already gave myself something else to do before I can get retired. But we got y'all with me on that? I mean, we got to get the voter turnout up in the next election up 10%. That's what I'm saying is our goal. The Committee to Save Jefferson County goal is that we want a 30% turnout by the next election, because that's the only way you're going to be protected. These low turnouts work right in the hands of the team. They know you're not going to come out to vote, and I understand. I don't hold that against you, because I know you done lost hope. I had lost hope. Everyone that we put in, they all end up being the same. I had hope in every mayor we done had. But then in the end, I end up looking for somebody else. I'm like John the Baptist. He sent his people to Jesus and said, now you the one we need to look for, or do we need to look for another? I thought William Bell was the answer. I was the biggest supporter of Mayor Wolfen. But nothing changes in our community other than the fact that it gets worse. The trash gets worse. The dilapidated houses get worse. The lack of opportunity gets worse. That causes you to lose hope. But I say, don't lose hope. Because if you lose hope, you're playing right into their game. 20% turnout is not a sign of strong leadership. It's a sign of a conspiracy. And you are part of it if you lose hope. So we want to be working on educating people and getting people to understand and know what they're voting for and why they vote for them, and then getting our turnout up to 30% first, and then 50%, and it needs to be 50% plus one at least. How can 20% of the people decide who's going to be in positions when they ain't nowhere near the majority of the people? So I thank you all for getting me on. You see, we're waiting up here. It's 6:30. It's kind of, so we got to go to Plan B, because, you know, I always say that when we say I'll be somewhere at 6:30, that means 7 o'clock. So we got, what's the Plan B?
Come to the mic here.
What?
Come to the mic here.
What am I coming over there for?
Because you had retired.
Because I ain't retired. But I've been accused of working for him, and he ain't paid me. He won't tell me where the payoff is in. And they're going to say, I told you don't go up there. See, he was the one answering the question. It was a setup. So, I don't even have no question. So, I'm going to do this. She'll be here in a minute, but she just ain't going to be here at the time she said. But y'all understand that. We family. We from the same community. We have the same culture. You know, I tell you, I'm going to be there at 6:30. You got to put 30 minutes on that. So, okay, all right. Okay, so I'm going to sit there down right here. And so, we're going to start with y'all, because I ain't got no questions. So, who got the first question that you want to get to Councilman Moore? So, do we have a mic for the...
I guess we can use this mic right here.
Okay, we want to do the first question. All right. Can you come up, young person? Don't make me come all the way back there. All right. Y'all got to help me out now. Okay. I had to hold the mic too, you know, because I give you the mic, you might start rapping or something. A young man.
The devil is a Christian, but we need to believe in Jesus that he will help us see the right way.
Is that the question?
Oh.
Did you have a question?
How much do you love God?
I love God a lot.
Good question. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, now don't go by what he said, man. Go by what he do. Because all of us love God and all of us are straight, but we make mistakes. We all sin.
So, Mr. Muhammad, I guess what I can do is I can just open up. I'll just, do an intro, and then if any questions arise after that, then we'll go from there. First thing first, I do want to say thank you to Pastor Wilder for hosting this event. I want to say thank you to you and your team for making this happen, Ms. Marcia. And thank you to each and every one of you all for showing up tonight and being a part of this process. I know that everybody has a lot of questions that they probably want to ask. And I know that there's, answers that people want. And so I want to make sure that I provide context, provide answers to any questions that you may have, and, make sure that this time is meaningful for us, right? I've been the city councilor of this district for 4 years, or going on 4 years in October. When I got into this district, I know that there were some who are here today that did not vote for me. And it wasn't because my name was on the ballot and they just didn't choose me, but it was because they got redistricted or redrawn into my district. And so I know that they have questions. I know that Collegeville is well attended here today. They have, issues and challenges that have been dealt with by this neighborhood and this community for several decades that they would like to have answers about. And so, again, I just want to make sure that today is an opportunity for us to just have honest and meaningful conversations. Regardless of how hard or how challenging it may be, I want you all to make that happen. There we go. So I see Miss Tiffany, she just raised her hand. So.
Who's Miss Tiffany? Oh, he got a microphone. Yeah, Wilder got a microphone.
And if somebody got some water, y'all ain't got no bottle? Okay, let me just get one. I don't want to get caught out from y'all.
Good evening, everybody. The question I have is, what did you see in your first term that you might have been surprised about or unaware of, looking from the outside? And then if you make it back in for your second term, what are you going to do differently than you did in your first term to be more accountable with District 4's funding, to be more communicative to your residents in your district, to show up or your staff show up at neighborhood meetings, not at the end, but in the forefront. So what are the things that you're gonna do differently if you get in for this second term than your first term?
I feel like that's a very fair question. The first thing that I'm gonna do is make sure that I properly staff my office. I know that several folks in here, and y'all could probably, all in unison say, everybody can attest to the fact that y'all have reached out, y'all have emailed, y'all have, called, and it has gone with no answer. Yeah. And I think that has been one of the biggest challenges. Most council offices probably have about 2 people in their office that manage the day-to-day operations. District 4 is much different, I feel like, than most districts because of the amount of challenges and the sheer size of this district. And so one of the first things that I'm gonna do is make sure that I have more than enough staff to manage and field those calls and make sure that we have enough folks that are out in the community to attend those neighborhood association meetings. I'm not gonna promise that I'm gonna be at every one of them. I can't. On some nights I have 5 different neighborhood associations that take place at the same exact time. And so just making sure that I set expectations to say, hey, I will make sure that somebody is at least there or at least communicates with our neighborhood officers to ensure that you have the answers to whatever questions or you have all of your concerns addressed. The second thing that I think is just as pivotal, thank you. The second thing that I think is just as pivotal is making sure that each of our neighborhood associations creates their own priority list as to what they want to see accomplished. I think it's very easy for, folks to, I just think that as even Mr. Muhammad was talking about, the fact that low voter turnout is an indicator of hopelessness, I do believe that. I do believe that, the city of Birmingham or, just District 4 in general feels hopeless because you all feel as though there are several things that have gone unaddressed that are not being solved. And I think that the missing ingredients is really the community itself, the neighbors, the residents. Most of the time you all can attest to the fact that there are several neighborhood association meetings that you attend that at most may have 10 to 20 people in them, where a neighborhood probably has about 2,000 folks that reside there. And so we have to make sure that, number one, everybody gets on the same page and has a priority list that says, hey, these are the things that we want to see. This is the report card that we're going to hold you accountable to. I'm okay with that. I know that, Penfield Park, they turned in a priorities list of the things that they wanted to see done in their neighborhood, and we've been able to check those things off. And so I think that those are two of the things that I know for sure would help in the next term. Number one, making sure that the office is properly staffed. Number two, making sure that neighborhoods have a priority list.
Councilman, can we hear from the people some of the things they want? Because you said a priority list. This audience is mighty reserved. I guess they suffer from the absence of Sheila Smoot effect. But can they kind of tell us what they want to go here, sir?
What I would like, my mom lived in England, and she got a field next door to her. She's 94 years old, and she's afraid of the snakes and the rats and everything. It hadn't been cut down in about 2.5 years, and she would like somebody to clean that lot off. She's been trying to get it cleaned off, and nobody came and cleaned it off. It's on 44th Avenue right now from First Baptist Mountain Park.
Okay, what I can do is, after this meeting, I can get that address from you, and I can turn that in to the mayor's office or to governmental affairs. But I'll tell y'all, y'all probably already know what I'm gonna say. We found out as a council that we have over 14,000 tax lien properties in our city right now. Overgrown lots that need to be cut. And even if the city was to put resources towards cutting those lots at least one time, we were told that it would take at least 2 years. At least 2 years. And it's because we have an even deeper issue. These vacant lots are a result of people either leaving our city or, individuals who lived in those houses that were eventually torn down just never passed that asset on to other family members. And so it speaks to an even deeper issue that we have in our city. And we have to find a way to increase the hope so that people really believe in moving back to the city of Birmingham. We have a lot of people that are leaving our city, right? And so with the vacant lots, one of the things that I've done in this position as councilor is myself and 3 other councilors, we put money towards a program called Magic City Tool Bank, where individuals can actually go and rent equipment, lawnmowers, weed eaters, all kinds of tools to be able to go out in the community and cut those vacant lots. This is something that I want to be able to partner with different churches in the community to be able to do, because I'm not expecting that, folks that are 70, 80, 90 years old to get out there in the yard and, help to cut down these vacant lots. But it is a way for us to be able to get churches involved. It's a way for us to be able to get fraternal organizations, sororities involved to maintain the pride in our neighborhood. Nobody's going to care about our neighborhoods as much as we are. And so we're going to have to be the ones to do it. All right? Did that answer the question? I think I see Ms. Tony King with a question.
Hello. I have 2 questions. I don't know how we get up here. So you just mentioned a priority list for each community. And by the way, my name is Tony King. I was raised in Norwood. My parents still live there, so I'm here on their behalf. A priority list from each neighborhood. Has that not already been done in the last 4 years? Or what type of process that you have in place for that? And then my next question is pretty personal because I am a city employee. On one of your interviews, you said that some city employees are very lackadaisical, which is lazy, and some things just not being done. Is there any way for you to elaborate on the type of things that are being missed and how that can improve, or what you have seen in your 4 years on that part?
Gotcha. So I'll address your first question first. You talked about has a priority list not been already sent to me? I think that, individuals have sent in things that are concerning them, right? Residents will send in things like illegal dumping that has taken place behind their homes, or, trash that has been missed or not picked up, which is good, right? And I think that these are all things that, should be sent to me. I think that in order to be more efficient though, because there are so many different neighborhoods, I would ask that, those concerns be brought to their neighborhood associations first. And the reason I say that is because there's a neighborhood officer who is literally there to be able to collect those different things, right? So I know the Roebuck Neighborhood Association, they've actually created a committee. I can't remember the name of the committee that y'all have, but pretty much any issue that a resident has, they bring it to that committee, and that committee is able to track those 311 confirmation numbers so that things don't fall through the cracks, right? And I can partner with them to ensure that those things are getting done through our governmental affairs process. And so it just adds another layer of accountability so that things can actually get done. I think that, we can all agree that it's easier for us to not have one person managing 19 things as opposed to, or 100 things, but then having those issues to roll up through those 19 neighborhoods to be able to actually, again, hold some accountability and have a catch-all. So that's the first thing. So to answer the question, no, a priority list has not been turned in except for the neighborhood that has, that I've already previously mentioned. But I do see some great things that neighborhoods are doing to try to get more organized. So that's your first question. The second question, you talked about how I stated that city employees are lackadaisical, and that it was something that was mentioned in a previous interview. And for those of you who don't know, I did an interview with Benny Mac, Barbershop Talk, where I can't remember the exact context of what the question was, but I was pretty much responding or relaying what I have been shared or what has been shared with me about city employees. And I mean, these are things that come out at even neighborhood association meetings. It's not that, I believe that every single city employee is lackadaisical. I have not witnessed that myself, but what I will say is there have been individuals in the community that have said, hey, we've seen where, trash could have been picked up and it was passed by, or a lot that, should have been cut was skipped over, or so many other instances. And so, again, I would love to, just go back and look at the context of what I said, and I'll respond to it tonight on Facebook once I get a chance to go back and look at it.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Hi, how are you?
What's up?
How are you all? My name is Sheila Smoot. I'll be today's moderator at 6:46, so I'm glad that we have some organic questions coming from the audience. As you know, this District 4 Candidate Runoff Forum is sponsored by the Committee to Save Jefferson County, the Black Contractors Association, Inc., and Birmingham City Retirees. And our host facility tonight is Bethel Baptist Church of Collegeville, Reverend Dr. Thomas L. Wilder, Jr. So let's give it up for him. You are in a church. Can we clap for the pastor? Most churches wouldn't let y'all in here. Y'all are very proud. So this is being open to the community. The church is not endorsing anyone. Let me make it clear, the church is not endorsing anyone. Many of the churches, and we've been to how many, Marcia?
11.
11. We've been to 11 forums. I moderated 11 forums. Ooh-wee. And Jarvis Escott is kindly doing the streaming, and he is with First Impressions Media. And Beth Conkle is our timekeeper, so we're going to get a little formal. We let you get a little informal so you can be organic and so you can feel the love or the non-love or however you want to call it. Miss Marcia is the one that organized this for the Citizens to Save Jefferson, the Committee to Save Jefferson County, so please give it up for her. And William Muhammad, this is not a group that started over just a minute ago because of a race. Mr. Muhammad, how long have you guys been meeting? How many years? 10 years? So this is not the first rodeo of that group, and this group has been silently meeting with leaders, I think at least a decade that I know. I know since 2010 that I know of. So that's been about 15 years. And the group has routinely hosted forums for communities who want to have an organic conversation with the candidates of record. Of course, we appreciate, and I'm your moderator. Don't shoot the messenger. And I'm brought in to keep the peace, and you guys look like a peaceful community. And I've also served as the Jefferson County Commissioner. I was the first black female ever elected to the state's largest commission, and the youngest ever elected to this day. And I ain't that young like I used to be, but I'm still kicking, I'm still good at what I do. And I've been I own the Sheila Smoot Show on CBS 42. And so I'm all over the state with Town Square Media in Tuscaloosa and other places for some years in my media background. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And so this committee has asked me to graciously moderate this, and I too am just a neutral party. And so with that, we're going to start with some questions. We will definitely come back to you. We want to stick with the issues, and we are not going to and I don't think, you guys look like an astute crowd, and we have never had an issue where we had to ask anybody to leave or say anything. Say what you want, but be respectful. Say what you want, but be respectful. This is to talk to you about what's on your mind. You are the ones that will make this selection on October 7th. There are several runoff races. In fact, in Jefferson County, there are 35 cities, and Birmingham is just one of them. And you all had 9 elected races, a mayor's race, and 9 elected races with city council. And Mr. Moore represents this area. And so that is why he is here, because he is in a runoff with the candidate of record who is not here at the time, Brian Gunn, who declined to come out today for this forum, which is his right. So this gentleman has agreed to address you as a community, but mainly you as a returning voter. And so with that said, we're going to continue with the committee's questions, which I'm in charge of, and then I'm going to ask you to resume your questioning from the audience. So get some good ones, okay? Good, thank you. All right, Mr. Moore, you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You're the incumbent city council member for District 4. What do you believe is the role of the city council in our community? And once you answer that, also, can you explain after that, what is the Mayor-Council Act? That seems to have come up in every forum of this city that you've had. But first, what do you believe the role of the city council in your community is? And please don't address me, address your audience.
Absolutely. So the role of a city councilor is to advocate, to legislate, and to pass a balanced budget, as well as to appoint different members to boards and agencies. And so from the advocacy standpoint, it is my job to serve as the megaphone for the issues that you all have each and every day. From a legislative standpoint, it is my job to ensure that, as I'm voting on different issues, voting on different things, that it's in the best interest of the community and the citizens that we serve, as well as, making sure that we put policies in place that best represent you and best protect the community. to pass a balanced budget, making sure that the money that we approve is actually going to help the mayor to do his job, because it is a partnership. We do not have staff that we direct. We do not have staff that we can tell what to do. But we do make sure that we put enough money into those different, into the budget for those different departments so that they're able to do their job efficiently and properly. And then boards and agencies, like I said, it's our job and responsibility to make sure that we appoint people to different boards and agencies, like the Birmingham Library Board or the Birmingham Park and Recreation Board. Individuals in this room right now may have an interest in certain areas that they want to serve in the city. And if they were to reach out to me or to their city councilor, they could get information about how they could serve on these different boards and agencies.
30 seconds.
And so, yeah, those, and then what was the last part of it?
Can you explain what the disconnect sometimes of the argument when a resident will say, oh, I need my pothole, oh, you didn't cut my grass, oh, you didn't pick up my garbage. But there is a form and a document that you operate under called the Mayor-Council Act. How does that limit you with your constituency, if at all? And if it doesn't, how have you been managed to get around that? Because it's a very strong document which favors not the council, but more of a mayor style of governance, which, by the way, is in many counties and cities in Alabama.
So I think that, you know, a lot of times when residents see the current council operate, they think about the council of old, right? They think about, you know, the time when you had the very fiery individuals who were able to direct and, you know, tell city staff what to do, and they were able to, you know, not direct those requests to just the mayor, but to the department heads, the department chiefs, right? In 2016, the Mayor-Council Act, which is what we are governed by as a council, was changed so that we were not in a position to be able to do that anymore. Not only were we not able to direct city heads or department heads, we also lost some ability and authority over the budget, in that in the past we had the ability to have a budget presented to us by the mayor, and we could change it and then present it back. Now it's the budget gets presented to us by the mayor, and it is what it is. Now, what I will say is our current mayor has been really good about making sure that, you know, he attends to the concerns of the council, but at the same time, there are things that, you know, we as a council want to make sure that we
30 seconds.
Things that we as a council want to make sure that we advocate for more. And so those are just some of the things that will change. So when you say, hey, I need y'all to get, you know, the police to ride around my neighborhood more, I can't go to the department head or the chief picket and say, hey, Chief Pickett, I need you to send me some more officers. We have to go through governmental affairs. We have to make sure that we make that request through them, and then they make that request to, you know, the department heads, to whomever that may be.
How have you managed to get around that with the things you have done? And you told the audience earlier, so that is a very strict process. And again, let me proceed by saying there are cities and counties in Alabama with county managers and city managers. You don't have a city manager, so that would be another layer of government that a city councilor would have to go through, and then the mayor. But have you managed to do things, because that's a long process that you have to go through a layer and another layer, and a constituent says, well, I just want you to come in and do extra patrol on my street. How have you managed to manage that document in favor of your constituency?
That is a long process, and, you know, y'all may get mad at me when I say this, but, you know, one of the things that I have seen that has worked, has been a great workaround with that, is getting neighborhoods organized to be able to come to a council meeting and say, hey, this is what we want to see done. Literally, we had a council meeting on today where there were residents from a particular neighborhood that were against a car wash, and they were able to come up and advocate for, you know, their neighborhood in order to get exactly what it is that they want, right? And so I think that, you know, in addition to having your counselor, in addition to having, you know, me advocate in the budget and me advocate through legislation and policies, I think that it's still a very powerful thing, and it will never go away, the power of, you know, a group of people saying the same thing and being on the same page and showing strength in numbers. Like, you can never lose with that. And so I know a lot of times folks have told me, well, counselor, I gave you my vote and I paid my taxes. You're supposed to work for me. And I'm like, well, look, I voted for me too, and I paid my taxes. So we both in the same boat. But I think that we can never neglect the fact that if we want to make sure that, you know, our communities look the way that we want them to look, that we stand as a unified front. And we
30 seconds.
And we get, yeah, we stand as a unified front.
Okay, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to answer so we can get through all of their questions. But then we open it back up to the audience for their questions after hearing some of the things. Y'all may have some additional questions to ask in regard to the ones that the committee are asking. And you do not have to adhere to any of the committee questions. Please do ask your own. What are your solutions to getting the homeless off the streets and into safe housing?
Got you. So I know that we, the council has supported funding for the PALLET program, which is an opportunity for us to be able to get unhoused individuals off of the streets and place them into some temporary housing with some wraparound services, right? To be able to help them to get on their feet and have the resources that they need. And so I know that there's one organization, Urban Alchemy, that is located in Woodlawn, right off of right off of 55th Street, that is supposed to be having a location where we will be able to have some tiny homes that will be put together for them to be able to work with them, as well as provide resources through other organizations for them. I know that, you know, there's also been, you know, concern about unhoused individuals being dropped off in our city from other places. And so we're trying to also think about what does it look like for us to manage that, right? Number one, where are they coming from? And how can we ensure that, you know, we don't take on that responsibility that belongs to another city? And so it's something that we're looking into. I know that community development is looking into it, as well as, you know, Ms. Elena Melton, who is working with our unhoused population in that regard.
Thank you. The skills and experience that you have brought to the citizens of District 4 are on full display. What are your second act improvements you would like to deliver to District 4 if re-elected?
Say that last part.
What are your second act improvements? So what do you plan to do on your next term if elected?
Got you. Like I said before, first thing, get my office in order, right? Next thing, make sure that we have us a priority list. Third thing is making sure that we focus on, you know, some legislation that's really going to help in terms of these brownfield areas. I have a lot of my neighborhoods that have brownfields in them, and I want to make sure that we can properly remediate those areas and get those areas cleaned up, because that's going to be extremely important. When we think about, you know, just establishing pride in our community, making sure that we have, you know, areas that we can invite more jobs into the area, like we have to make sure that these brownfield areas are cleaned up so that it actually adds value to the community. And then, like I said, those are the main things. And in addition to that, I would say, you know, just being more vocal. I think if there's any constructive criticism that I've heard from District 4, it is, JT, we need you to be more vocal about what it is that we want to see, right? And I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you at all. And I've been learning from folks like Jimmy Smith in the community, who's just like, look, you need to speak up. You need to say something. And, you know, other people who have just said, hey, we want you to show up, just like Ms. Tiffany said tonight. And so I think those are some of the most pivotal things
30
for me to
seconds.
be able to do in my second term.
You talked about brownfield. I'm very familiar with brownfields, and you guys actually sitting on a brownfield. Brownfields in this area are very common. You know, you got rail, you got dilapidated housing. But once upon a time, the area was vibrant, had precinct. I don't know if the precinct's still here in this area, but you had retail. What are your plans to make that and a priority and to make that vocalization heard to the people that you have to get to make sure that the area could potentially have the things that some of the other areas have? For instance, the master plan. There is always a master plan for Birmingham. It's usually every 10 years, I think. I don't know what you guys are doing now. But normally the master plan for all areas are planned. And the master plan, in it has what happens in the next decade. And it deals with homelessness, it deals with housing, it deals with retail. That is why you see what is going on downtown. That was part of the master plan, even the Weston, like 10 and 20 years ago. There was a document for those of you who are older called MAPS, where there was this huge master plan. It was gorgeous, it was there, I was covering City Hall at the time. And then came RAPS with a city councilor named Jimmy Blake, very colorful man, who doused it and killed it. And then there was Region 2020, and that didn't occur. So the city planners and those offices have had tens and tens and tens, every decade there's a master plan. So with all that said, what is your master plan for this area, knowing the history of this area, knowing you do have brownfield around the country, industrial. For instance, the Clinton Library is built on a brownfield because of its dangerous toxic fuel. We do so much. For instance, the pedestrian bridge and at the Titan Stadium is built on a brownfield. For instance, I'm a Steelers fan, so I can't help it. The Steelers Stadium, Heinz Stadium, and the baseball is built on a brownfield. There was land that was cleaned up. A lot of it was EPA dollars given. So you really sit as one of those areas, and so with you knowing and saying brownfield, that wasn't one of my questions. How do you intend to engage this community to get those federal dollars or to get more dollars that can help with the cleanup and help them bring those things back and bring other things into this area?
Absolutely. So October 2021, when I got in office, EPA had been in this area and they had been doing some remediation and cleaning up the community. They were on the tail end of their cleanup. They got to, I think they stayed here probably one more year. And then in 2022, they said, hey, we're done with the cleanup. We've done everything that we were supposed to do and we're leaving, right? And so at that time, you still had folks that were just like, hey, I don't believe that, my community is cleaned up, I want to leave. You had others that were like, look, wasn't nothing wrong with this dirt and this soil in the first place, we were fine. But I think that what really has to happen is, number one, we have to change the narrative of how we see our neighborhoods, right? A lot of times people don't realize that Railroad Park was a brownfield. It started off as a brownfield. It was contaminated. It was industrial. And there was enough...
I'll give you another one. You're right, because that's part of that project, it did. But the other one is where Mark Steele, across from the Birmingham jail next to Washington School Memorial Park. You got DC blocks there. And the county did that collaboration with the city, and that too was a brownfield because that was my project. And we got $500,000 in EPA money. You think it's $5 million? And Lisa Jackson at the time, under the Barack Obama administration, said the money because the two governments collaborated.
Yeah.
Therefore, you are right. That's the other one too. And then there's one more. I want to say it's toward Inslee, where the 99 acres, where where the Inslee. I'm looking at to go over the bridge while I'm to that. That's 99. It's dirty over there, but again, continue on with that.
So a lot of times people don't recognize and realize that Railroad Park used to be a brownfield, and so the same area that people now lay in the grass, have picnics, roll around with their dogs, have all kinds of family functions. used to be an area that folks said was dirty, was, you know, contaminated, was, you know, unusable. And I think that people who live in District 4 or who live in, you know, some of these areas that are impacted by, you know, this label of brownfield, we understand that our soil, that our homes, that our neighborhoods are still valuable and they're still meaningful. But we have to start sharing the narrative of why that's important for others outside of our neighborhoods to invest in them. I think that in the, you know, area of Collegeville, I think that Bethel Baptist Church, the very church that we sit in, serves as an anchor for this community because of the historical context of what this place means to our city and to our narrative as a city, right? And so this is an anchor for us to build around because we know that it will bring foot traffic into the neighborhood. We know that people will come from far and wide to hear the story about Fred Shuttlesworth and about what black people in this city were able to do as a result of being right here. And so I think that that's something that we could build or get federal dollars for to expand the footprint so that, you know, we could have the support and resources that we need to be able to clean up this area. So yeah.
You spoke of the area and the history of this area with Reverend Shuttlesworth and all the great things that he did and where we sit today. What do you think about civil rights tourism? Because you kind of just mentioned it. Many people, as you know, concentrate on the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute. We just celebrated the anniversary of the bombing of the 4 little girls at 16th Street Citizen, but we are sitting in a historical site as well. What do you think you can do, or how could you advocate for this community under the guise of civil rights tourism?
Got you. I mean, I definitely am willing to support in whatever way possible to be able to share our story. I think that, you know, there's so much that could be learned from, you know, our civil rights heroes of old, from what they did in the past, because it's the very things that we need right now today. Yeah, personal opinion, like I don't know, you know, if enough of our young people know about why Fred Shuttlesworth was so important, or why, you know, what happened in the 60s was so important. Outside of all the big figures that we could name, the Fred Shuttlesworth and the Colonel Stonewall Jacksons, the most pivotal and most beautiful thing that I think was, you know, from the 60s that I wish we still had now, was the fact that, you know, our churches had so much influence in our communities. That used to be the very place where, you know, a lot of organizing would take place, right? Like, we didn't have to have neighborhood association meetings because everybody was in church. Everybody was organizing in the church pews. This is where a lot of the community issues were talked about or were organized around. And so I think that, you know, that time of the 60s, we had a lot of togetherness, we had a lot of collaboration that does not exist nowadays. We saw in the last election that, you know, people would much rather use social media to tear people down, tear people apart. The very folks that look like you, that live next door to you, that grew up with you, you will use your influence, your power, your college degrees to, you know, come up with all these memes and funny sayings to tear folks down. But in this day and time, that's the very last thing that we need to be doing. We need to all be on the same page. And so, to answer your question about, you know, promoting civil rights, absolutely. I think that last thing I'll say is I got a chance to go out to Oakland, California. They're doing a lot of great work with, you know, sharing more information about Black Panthers and, you know, what that meant for their city. And I think that we have a story to tell as well. And so,
you have a big story to tell. Let's segue to where we sit. And you talked about the civil rights history. I'm sorry, do you need something?
I'm sorry, no, I didn't know if somebody had a question.
Yeah, we're gonna hold off, and please get your questions, write them down, and we'll definitely come to you. Let's go into where we sit. So we know the way you come in here, if you're not from here and live here, In fact, my aunt, my first cousin, where I used to come here as a child, I'm from Flint, Michigan originally, my parents are Southerners. I thought it was Taj Mahal. I came here, everything was clean and neat as a child, and I just buried my first cousin, who would not leave Collegeville. She lived right here in the housing community, 67 years old at the time. My oldest cousin just would not leave here. It was home to her, and she felt things have changed, and we come in and get her, bring her food. But I used to come in here, and I was just here a couple before she died. I came here every day to visit her because she cooked the best neck bones I ever ate. So, with that said, where we sit, and with the housing community, what relationship will you extend to the housing authority and to make sure that the residents in the housing authority and the surrounding residents around them, that things are in sync and on the same page? Because that is a federal agency. The Housing Authority of Birmingham District is under HUD, which is a federal agency which has millions and millions of dollars. And they kept telling my aunt that she was going to get you housing, and she believed that to the day she died, that the Collegeville housing community that she lives in would be scrapped and it would be refurbished like they're doing at Southtown right now. She also believed, thank you, Flo, I love you, that I do remember when they gated it off because of crime, and now as I come through there before she died just this summer, there's old cars sitting there, and nobody stops you, and I notice people hanging out, I notice the kids. What kind of relationship you feel that you can build, not only with the housing district here of Birmingham, but the regional office for HUD sits right down at the BJCC in the Medical Forums. You can go right up there and have a relationship with the Region 4 entity there that is over the region. And you probably didn't know that, so don't get caught up in that part of it. I only know it because I've been around and I reported on that. But I want to ask you, what do you think that should look like if you are reelected?
Yeah, number one, I think that, I think that the housing authority should have a relationship with the rest of the community here. And I'm speaking specifically to Collegeville, and then I'll talk about District 4. I know that there's, great concern about what is going to happen to the housing authority right here in this neighborhood, right? And what that will do to the overall community. And so one of the things that I've done is, really been working with some of the representatives of housing authority to try to garner relationships with the residents council, which is the equivalent of the neighborhood association for our housing authorities. So that's one thing. But I think that they need to be a fixture in, the overall collaboration of the community itself. I know that there's a history of, where there was
a disconnect between the neighborhood
pretty much
and those entities.
Yes, a disconnect
because of
between
what they think it is.
A disconnect between the neighborhood as well as the housing authority. And I think that, we have to, it's my job as a counselor to make sure that I build the bridge to garner that collaboration amongst them. I know that in the city of Birmingham, we were able to receive $50 million for Choice Neighborhood, where, the Smithfield community is able to, build and get more housing in that area. I would like to see the same thing being done over here in District 4 as well, because I feel like these are the areas, I'm not gonna say that need it most, but that are in dire need of that type of funding and that type of resource. I think that, a substantial amount of money like that could really help to change, how a neighborhood looks, and as well as how people feel about their neighborhood when they come into it. So.
Thank you. Based on what you know about city government, what do you see as a top priority or priorities, it could be more than one, you and your co-council members can bring to the mayor and to implement it? What do you see as top priorities that you and your co-council members can bring to the mayor and implement it for District 4?
Yeah, so the number one thing that I really want to see done is for us to invest more in housing. And that's only because I see that being the one thing that can help us address a lot of other issues. A lot of people call about vacant lots. A lot of people call about illegal dumping. A lot of people call about gunshots that are just going off in different areas. And if we are able to build housing in these vacant areas and actually put owners in these houses, put residents on these streets, really help them to build community and organize, then I feel like that alone could help us address majority of the issues that we have in the community. Obviously that comes with a high price tag, but it's something that I feel like will be the silver bullet to address a lot of the challenges that we have in our communities.
How would you do? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say this other thing, and this is, just something that, I talked to, my friends about. I also believe that, us working on familial relationships, and really trying to ensure that we have healthy family relationships is going to be a very pivotal thing as well. Now, as a government official, as an elected official, I can't write policy to tell you to like your cousin or your mama or nobody like that, right? But I do know
30
that.
seconds.
I do know that living in today's time is very expensive. Everybody can't afford their own home. And a lot of us are trying to live a life that we can't really afford. And we need to build a financial base by living together, by working together, so that when we are able to get out on our own, we can actually afford to do so. And I think that, that's something that we need to look into culturally. So, yeah.
What is going to be your relationship with neighborhood associations, and do you believe that neighborhood associations in this day and time should exist?
Trying to set you up. No, I do believe that they're supposed to exist. I do. I believe that neighborhood associations are probably the greatest thing that, we have in the city of Birmingham. Now, the question is, how do we get people engaged? How do we get people to want to actually show up? I think it starts with making sure that you have leaders in place that, make it worthwhile for people to come. Y'all here tonight, and I appreciate y'all being here. But it's a lot of people that voted in our election. It was 3,400 people that voted. I don't see 3,400 people here tonight. And I think that this is a reflection of what our neighborhood associations look like. And so, I'm sorry, I said something wrong? Oh, okay. So yeah, I think this is a reflection of it. And I think that, we have to find ways to get more people engaged. And we have to make sure that, as they're getting engaged, they actually understand their place in neighborhood associations. Like I said, there are some neighborhood associations that have created committees where people can actually engage in the things that they're interested in. Whether that's, hey, I want to make sure that I just focus on beautification. So I'm gonna make sure that I plan all the flower plans, I'm gonna plan all the tree plans, I'm gonna make sure that I do all the murals. We gotta find ways to plug people in so that they actually see their place and they see what they need to put their hands to. That's the only thing that's gonna make it worthwhile. Otherwise, you're just showing up to hear folks talk about all the issues in the community with no real solutions.
Okay, I was just about to give you that 30-second man. We're gonna go to the audience after this question, so get your questions ready. Again, you are joining the committee to Save Jefferson County, sponsored by the Black Contractors Association, Inc., Birmingham City Retirees, and again, the committee to Save Jefferson County. Those were most of their questions, and then we're going to turn back to the audience. Continuity, not changing. Why do you think you should be reelected to another 4 years? What you need that extra change for? You had 4 years, so why do you think that the continuity should stay the same and there should not be a change in the seat at this time?
I think that, well, first I did some research. I was looking at Councilwoman Parker, Councilwoman Maxine Parker, and she got the bridge done over here. And, you know, that wasn't something that just came in one term, right? And I don't think it was something that happened in 2 terms. It was really something that, you know, started long before she even got in office, to be able to have conversations, to really get an understanding of where we are, to know that, hey, this is something that we need to focus on and build, right? I think that I deserve, you know, another term, because I'm in a space where I've sat in this seat and I've heard from the constituents, I've heard from residents about the issues and the challenges. I've had an opportunity to go to people's houses and see what they look like. I've taken my ARPA dollars and I've, you know, placed it into different areas that are meaningful to help people, you know, do some critical housing repairs, to repair parks and recreation facilities, and, you know, to get different things done in that way. But I think that right now, I'm just now getting to a place where I see how I can take District 4 to the next level. I can take District 4 to the next level, and regardless of who you all vote for, right? Because I'm not gonna assume that all of you are gonna vote for me, right? But regardless of who you vote for, the person that sits in this seat is going to have to spend time learning. They're gonna have to spend time learning. And so if you make a change, that's your right, that's your decision. But you also have to deal with the fact that there's going to be a learning curve that the next person is going to have to deal with, right? I can hit the ground running because I know exactly what it is that I need to do, and I know exactly who it is that I work for.
And I'm gonna give you, and I know Pastor Wilder could give it to us, but this is a neutral side. He's gonna pass that mic around. Good evening to you, Facebook, live streaming. Good to see you. We're gonna take some questions from you too. So Jarvis will get that. If you have a question on Facebook, please ask it. We'll try to get to it. We got a live audience. You are always welcome to come here, but we are live streaming this event, and we'll tell you what our numbers are before we leave. One of the reasons you got that bridge, I remember, and all of you remember if you're from here, you know when you had to come over there and get caught by that train. How many of y'all remember that? Raise your hand. Whoever got caught by the train? Because I know I did. I know I did. So I love coming over and doing that. But Miss Maxine Parker, yes, you're absolutely right, started that project, but before that, I think Reverend Wilder, you can attest that you all have been trying to get that bridge over troubled waters for a very long time. But it was legislative. They had to go through the legislature, the Alabama DOT, the Department of Transportation in the state of Alabama, and I forget, it's not Director Cooper's there now, but the director prior to that. So it was state representatives and working with city government and working with the person of record. And at that time, Ms. Maxine Parker was very vocal. I mean, it was been vocal before. So what's your relationship with the legislature? Because lots of times, the state of Alabama is, and the cities that are governed do not, let me repeat, do not have home rule. So oftentimes, outside of the types of policies and that they move internally, externally, meaning outside, they have to go to the state of Alabama. That's why it was important for you to elect your state rep, and at that time, Oliver Robinson was your state rep. And so it was very important, I think, or Mary Moore, I think she's in this area too, JT, is she? I'm not sure. But I know those representatives had to be approached by your city leader and also your mayor, but mainly because the person directly responsible for this area has the most engagement, and that's what you all wanted, those people, whoever were there. So what is your relationship with the legislature? I know that every year you guys go up and you have a legislative agenda, and do you present a legislative agenda for your constituency?
Yes, so we do. We always make sure that we go up, we present a legislative agenda. There are several times where things that we presented have not been able to pass because of not a lack of support from our Jefferson County delegation, but just because there's a lack of support in our House for those things that we want to see done here in Birmingham. And so but we do have a great relationship with them. One of the things that we discussed as a council is how we need to have more communication with our state legislatures, because a lot of the challenges that we face in the city of Birmingham are governed by, or we're handcuffed because of the home rule. And so in order for us to change those things, we have to have some assistance from our state legislature. And so I know that, folks like Neil Rafferty is very involved. I know that, Mayor Moore, Representative Hollis, those are the three that touch District 4, and they are, very involved, and I definitely want to make sure that I have way more connectivity to them in this second term.
Thank you. We are going to be wrapping at 7:45, so we're going to go to your questions at this time. If you would like to raise your hand, we will have a mic come to you so that you can ask your questions. If you raise your hand, okay, I've got 1, 2, and 3 in the back. So you can go to the closest and do 1 and 2 and 3. Is that okay with the audience? Thank you so much for deferring.
Councilor Moore, you talked about the Mayor Council Act, and I think you talked about it several times, but I don't think I heard a definite answer. So this is twofold. Are you for changing the Mayor Council Act to take power away from the mayor? That's a yes or no. And number 2, in the way that the Mayor Council Act has been since 2016, where most councils say they can only vote the budget up or down, in those instances where you all see where you do want to make changes, which you can make written recommendations to the mayor, collectively and individually, have you done that, or have you seen a reason to do that, to stall the budget in order to make changes? Since you made the statement again about being vocal, those are also ways of being vocal. So the Mayor Council Act, are you in agreement with changing it? I think
yes.
It's fine. Yes. And if the council still has leverage to vote up or down, what have you done the last 4 years to try to make changes where you saw things wrong in the budget?
Thank you for that question.
I think that's a very good question. Yeah, so I think that's a very good question. So the first question she asked, I said, yes, I do think that we need to make sure that we change the Mayor Council Act so that the council has more power in its administration. The second question you asked, what have I done in the past 4 years to ensure that, I've advocated for the people of District 4 in the budget? What I'll say is that, based on the information that I've had previously, I've made sure that, the things that have been brought to me by community members, I've made sure that those things are in the budget. So when, we talk about, most of the time when folks come to us and they say, hey, these roads are atrocious. We need to get street resurfaced, or we need to have our roads resurfaced, right? Well, all of the council agrees that, that should happen. And so each year we've had $12 to $15 million that was always allocated towards street resurfacing. We had a lot of folks reaching out and calling us and saying, hey, we need to make sure that we have more officers that are on our streets. I know that I've shared, multiple times with, even on the council days about, some of the violence that has taken place. Me and the mayor have actually gone and shown up where different shootings have taken place in my district. And so there's an understanding already that, hey, this needs to happen. And so as a result of that, we made sure that we put $16 million to be able to recruit more officers in the city of Birmingham, right? And so those are some of the things that I've done since I've been in the seat. Now, I think that there are, way more things that need to be, advocated for, but I'm also understanding of the fact that there's a lot of need.
5 seconds.
There's a lot of need in our city, and so that's why I want to make sure that I'm specific in what it is that you all want to see, so that I can voice that opinion and advocate for it.
Our next question, go ahead.
So I reside in the Englewood community. I've been there for just over 6 years now. One of the things that I, as a resident there, have seen personally was that we lose a lot of businesses. We've lost our Family Dollar, we've lost a lot of restaurants options that we had available as well. Some of it's due to crime, but some of it's also due to difficulty getting licensing and permits that they may need to be in that area. I know it can be a little bit difficult, not just for our community, but for the entire district in general, but what can you do as a representative of us to assist in bringing back some of that money, some of that infrastructure and everything back into our community so we can see it thrive? Because when you get off that exit, it's industrial. All you see is industrial. We see you doing the groundwork for sports, we see you doing the groundwork for education, but I need to see some of those businesses coming back into our area.
Thank you for your question, Mr. Moore.
Yeah, I agree. If you all don't know, 80% of our city budget is made up of business licenses and business taxes. So the fact that, there are several business owners, several people who have businesses in the city that say that the process to getting a license and the process to going and getting permits is hard, directly affects our budget. And so one of the things that I want to do in this second term is to, number one, make sure that I understand what is the process that people are going through that is making it so hard, and how can we be more efficient in, making sure that they can navigate that seamlessly, because we don't want to make it hard for people to give the city of Birmingham money. We don't want to make that hard, because if we do that, it makes it harder to have the resources we need to provide city services. Our Birmingham Police Department, our PEP, our Public Works officers, all of those folks, all of those departments are paid through the money that we receive from business licenses and business taxes. So yeah, we need to make it very easy for them. And so that's the number one thing. But the second thing I'll do is, I'm curious to know what people want to see in their neighborhoods, because I don't know, like, you may want churches, other people might want Taco Bell, but we need to figure out exactly what is it that the community wants. And I think that if I don't communicate anything else to you all, that's the number one thing that I want you all to know, is that as a community, as a city, we have to know what it is that we want, and we have to be in agreement. We have to be in agreement, and neighborhood associations are the place for us to build that consensus so that we can move in one direction and accomplish those things.
In the past, there have been neighborhood vignettes when they've been putting in new things in the area. Hoover, when they put in what they have now for 459, all the Hoover Met and everything had vignettes to ask every resident in every one of their communities, because it's sprawl. You got River Trace, you got Greystone, you got Trace Crossings, you got Lakeside, you got Rossbridge, you got Preserve, you got a lot over there. And there used to be a time, as you see the community river walk, no, city walk, all of that, they had stuff all over. The Alabama DOT controls that, and now it's the BJCC, they own it. But they built it. But they went around to every neighborhood. That's why you see a skateboard park. That's why you see roller skating. That's why you see pickleball and the children in the Bark Park, because the residents kicked in. Has there been something through you all where there's been a kind of a neighborhood vignette when your city tries to do a project? Have they included you? Have they excluded you? Do they do that where they go around with a master plan and come into a community? Or and you don't have to know that. Yeah, but that's what most major cities have done, get the input from each community so that they can get what they want. Have you seen that or been a part of that?
I have. So ALDOT did a discussion where they were trying to determine whether or not folks wanted to have an on-ramp or T-ramp that was coming off in the Woodlawn community. Yeah, so I've been a part of those types of discussions before. But I wanted to see if there was some more questions.
All right, thank you. And I just want to give you that. We have a question right here.
My name is Lamar Bader. I just want to find out. Do you remember me?
Say it again.
Do you remember me?
Yes, sir. I know exactly where you live.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll never forget you, Mr. Bader.
Okay, sounds good. Look here, when you first came on board, understand I was telling you about the situation, understand, between the three neighborhoods, Cottersville, Harrison Park, and Fairmount.
Yes, sir.
And you know, and I told you, understand, it's sort of like a delicate thing because, you know, people's actually dying every day, understand, in this neighborhood. And it's been going on for a very long time. And we're talking about the, you know, brown thing, but this plant, understand, had been running over 100 years. You know, 100 years, understand, contaminated, understand, so much, understand, these 3 neighborhoods. Now, the EPA was doing just good, doing fine. And then all of a sudden, understand, they just up and left. Nobody said nothing, nobody did nothing. Y'all had meetings and stuff, but you never included the people in the neighborhood. It was always so close caption thing. That y'all made decisions, understand, and the next thing, understand, EPA was gone. And nobody can give us an answer. I'm looking forward to, understand, getting some answer, because that's what I want you to tell me, understand, what really happened.
Thank you for your question. Okay, you got 1 minute, 2 minutes to answer.
Yeah, so thank you, Mr. Lamar Mabry, for your question. So like I told y'all earlier, when I got elected, that was October of 2021. Of course, we went into Classic, we went into the Thanksgiving, Christmas holiday, came back January, February. I want to say I had one meeting with the EPA where they were trying to catch me up on what they had been doing during this cleanup and remediation time. I can't remember exactly how long they had already been here in the Collegeville neighborhood, already cleaning up and doing the remediations. But by, I want to say, October of 2022, they had claimed that, hey, we've done everything that we're going to do. We've cleaned up all the contaminated soil, and we are currently packing up and leaving out. At that time, in between February and that October time, I want to say they had gotten even a new regional director, a gentleman, I think his last name is Blackman. And so he came in, and he was new as well. And so myself, a couple of neighborhood officers, I want to say State Representative Mary Moore, Charlie Powell, like we all, you know, went around on a tour with him for him to see, you know, all the areas that needed to be cleaned up and everything that was deemed Superfund site. And so, like I said, once he got put in position, I had maybe one meeting with him, and then after that, October came, and they said, hey, we've done our part, we've done our work, and we're gone, right? Now, like I said earlier, there are some folks who said, hey, wasn't nothing wrong with this soil in the first place. Y'all should have never touched it. There are others who say, hey, we still think that there's contamination here, and we need this cleaned up. And I don't know if that's because previous elected officials shared, you know, misleading information with folks and, you know, had them skeptical about any and everything that they heard, right? But at any rate, that's what I inherited. I inherited the EPA leaving. I inherited, you know, folks still not being on the same page about what direction we should go in and, you know, still trying to figure out how to best serve individuals in these 3 neighborhoods.
All right, do we have a question?
Yes.
Go ahead, Steve.
So, I live in a zip code Finley. So the farmers market area, 16th Street. I visit every day Homewood, Vestavia Hills, Mountain Brook, not every day, to get my movie on, to get fresh food, to get entertainment.
She's been to 78 movies.
Yes.
This year.
Yes. So 78.
She's that movie buff.
So we have to travel to be happy. Our neighborhoods are that depressed. Every year, we're hoping, okay, we'll get him in, we'll get better, okay. Nothing changes. But I'm gonna get up and go to Vestavia Hills. Their revenue is gonna climb with me. Homewood is gonna climb with me. Nothing changes, but you all get money into the budget. It's a line item amount. When are we gonna say 35204, 35207, let's break them off some? Because we're never broken off any. Yeah. And we can't be happy about just paved roads You picked up my garbage, and I'm happy that I can cut my lawn and not get shot. It's gotta change. It can change. The city council members got to huddle together and get some things changed.
Yeah.
Because young people like you don't want to live in a zip code Finley. Okay. So, okay.
He lived on the trenches.
Oh, thank you. So the question is change.
Change. Yeah.
James is her question.
So I'll say this, right? Because I think what you're referring to is just being able to have the entertainment in our city, right? For us to be able to actually enjoy the amenities of living in the city of Birmingham. Street pavers is not the end all be all. Making sure that we have, low crime rates is not the end all be all. But we need to be able to have some joy, some fun. Now, I know that we, currently right now, the city council is doing, Safe Summer Series concerts where folks can go out and, enjoy themselves. But I want to kind of go back to Ms. Lopez's question as well, because I think that has a lot to do with it. I don't know how many of y'all know it, but we've lost a lot of restaurants to other surrounding cities. We've lost a lot of restaurants to other surrounding cities that have come in, they've seen our restaurants, and they're like, this will be good in our space. And it starts off as like, a second location, and then they just completely leave. I think MasterCard did a research study that showed, where people are spending their money. And when it comes to restaurants, most people from Birmingham are going to Homewood to spend money because that's where the food is, right? And so we have to figure out how not to make the process so hard for folks to operate here in the city of Birmingham so that they don't mind being here. Because the truth of the matter is, I'm sorry.
30 seconds.
The truth of the matter is, everybody wants to be in Birmingham. They really do. But they don't want to deal with, some of the, they don't want to have to go through all the loops and jump through all the hoops. So I think we have to fix our processes. We have to fix, our systems so that it makes it easier for folks to navigate in our city.
All right, thank you so much. And do we have one Facebook question, Jarvis, or no?
No.
Not at this time, okay. One more, and that concludes, we're going to be out.
We'll take two.
Okay, well, I have to defer to the host at hand. Can you take two? Okay, here and here. I see you too. If we can get you in, I will. And that's going to be it.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Oh, good evening.
I should say good evening.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Excuse me on that. My name is Chester Wallace, and I'm the Vice President of Collegeville. My question is this, is well, I'm going to try to make this as brief as possible, because I can go in 2 or 3 directions with what I would like to speak on. The first thing I would like to mention is Carver High School. You mentioned the civil rights. And tourism, but I'm one of the persons who were back in the area. I graduated from Carver High School when Mr. Goodson was the principal. I was there when we walked from the school, caught the bus, and went downtown. My question is this, is why is it that nobody ever thinks about Carver High School and the civil rights movement? Because the group that came from Carver High School was the mass majority of the people who went to jail, sat in the hog pens and all this other thing at their palm. The thing is this, is there any way that we can possibly do something about the old Carver High School?
I would ask that, Mr. Moore, you can answer that?
Yeah,
I will. Yeah. Thank you.
That's just portion of it. I have a little more, if you allow me.
We got to wrap up. We've got to be out by 8, but can you be brief?
I'll just say this. Yes, sir. We can look into some different options as to what can happen with Carver.
Who owns Carver?
I want to say the school system owns.
I want to say the school system owns it. Who is your current?
Mr.
You
Derek
elect a
Williams.
body of government that at all layers. So who is the current sitting school board member of your district?
School board member Derek Billups.
Eric?
Derek
Billups, I'm sorry. Derek Billups.
He's an awesome guy. Yeah.
And they have an arm where they are selling off schools that were previously owned. Now, I don't know what's going on with the dirt over there, but you should try your question, and thank you, Mr. Moore, with Mr. Moore, but also Mr. Moore is a city councilor. If you start your question in your groups with your elected school board member and then collab with them and whoever else represents your area, I think that's an excellent question.
We tried that, ma'am. We tried that several times.
Okay, so now you want to, maybe you need to get rid of a school board member. I'm just kidding. Just saying.
I think it's a little deeper than that, ma'am.
Yes, go on. We have to be brief. Go ahead. I'm sorry for
trying to be as
interrupting.
brief as possible. The other one is this, is the zoning. We must deal with that. And the other thing is with HUD. We have requested several times for HUD to meet with the neighborhood association in Collegeville because of the projects. Because we know what's about to happen there. They're going to eventually tear those projects down, and they think they're going to bring in light industrial. And we are here to stop that.
Thank you. Is there any comment? Is that your
So,
question? Thank you so much for all that history.
The only thing that I'll say to that is that I am more than happy and willing to facilitate a meeting between the neighborhood and HABD, or the Housing Authority of Birmingham. So, yes, sir.
Do we have one more? Here we go. Thank you.
I'll be brief. Okay, so I know a lot of conversation has been brought up about crime, the roads, and I just feel like a lot of that comes from the city being dark. And I know a lot of things is saying, a lot of people say we've had conversation about it just being dark in certain areas because people notice, when people realize that it's a dark space, they prone to do things, i.e. crime, i.e. trash. So I know I was told once before that it's mostly the state there. I guess some lighting, the state is over it. And I just wanted to know what can be done about these dark areas because the darkness causes gloom and doom. So is there anything that we...
Is there a lighting plan?
So I know that, thank you for your question, Ms. Tiffany. I know that the lighting that belongs to the state is along the highway. So that's ALDOT, right, on the interstate. So if you're driving along the interstate, those lights are managed by the state. But everything within the city is managed by Alabama Power. So the city of Birmingham has given Alabama Power the management agreement to be able to manage the city lights. And it makes sense because they can maintain them way better than the city can. They have the capacity to do so. And so, so we've turned that responsibility over to them. And so a lot of our areas are well lit. The challenge areas sometimes are, those streets or those roads that don't have as many people on them. But if there are, some street lights that are out, if you need to report that to me and I can turn that into, representatives over there at Alabama Power, we can get those, corrected. I know that, I work with Park and Rec to get the lights turned back on, at East Lake Park because they have been bust out along the trail at the bottom. And so we put in some LED lighting around the lake. Was able to get some traffic lights put up over there on Tarrant Huffman Road in partnership with the residents that are in that community because we had a lot of different car accidents that were taking place over there. And so in D4, I feel like, you know, we've done a really good job at, you know, the lights, but in terms of managing crime, a lot of it is taking place in areas that we don't have a lot of visibility anyway. And so, again, we need more homes, we need more homeowners, we need more people on these streets.
Time. And we're going to give you your last parting shots. Folks, remember, you have a runoff election. It is up to you to go back. I know it's exhausting. There were 35 elections in the county you sit in. Bessemer runs differently by constitutional law. But the new law had everybody running at the same time. Every mayor, every city councilor, and every school board elected. Like, for instance, Hoover does not have an elected school board. It is appointed. But everybody else, I know you're exhausted. I know you're exhausted. So, with that said, give you a minute for your parting shot or plea to get these voters to come back to the polls and believe that you should be re-elected, Mr. Moore, back to City Council of Birmingham. Go ahead.
Thank you. So I'll just say, number one, thank y'all for coming out tonight, because y'all didn't have to come out here. But I appreciate y'all for taking the time. I appreciate y'all for even being willing to just listen. I know that, you know, there may have been concerns in the beginning about, you know, me being the counselor for this district and me representing your best interest. I think that now, you know, I'm in a position where I know more. I've had an opportunity to hear from each and every one of you. I see what the needs are in this district. I've heard your constructive criticism in terms of what you would like to see more of from me, and I'm willing to put those things to good use, right? Like, I want to take that constructive criticism and put it to good use. The main thing I want y'all to always remember about me is that, you know, good, bad, and different, I'm here. Like, cause, you know, y'all could have beat me up real bad. I see you, Miss Tony. And she probably gonna get me in the parking lot. And that's all good, but I'm here for you to beat me up. Like, and I think that that's very important, right? Like, you need to be able to have somebody that is not willing to, or that is willing to, you know, step into the fire and not be afraid to, you know, come before all the faces that, you know, I have to represent. And whether you happy with me this moment or you upset with me another, like, I still gotta be here because that's a part of the job, right? And so, yeah, like, I just appreciate y'all for, you know, being a listening ear. On October the 7th, I definitely would love to have your vote. My wife would tell me not to say this, but even if y'all don't vote for me, right? You, as residents, still have a responsibility to be engaged and be involved beyond paying taxes and beyond giving a vote. Beyond those two things, you still have a responsibility to be engaged. And so I would admonish each and every one of you to do that and to find somebody else to come alongside you. Because that's what it's gonna take to not just change District 4, but to change the city of Birmingham. Like, we have got to be more engaged and more involved, and we have got to be teaching our kids and our grandkids about the importance of our vote, the importance of our voice, all of those things. They gotta be leaders in our city. They have to be civically engaged. And so,
can we have a meeting next month?
Sorry?
Can we have a meeting next month?
A meeting next month? What kind of meeting? What you trying to do?
A meeting like this.
I mean, I'm down. I'm
we
cool
gonna
with
wait
it.
4 years to come back, then we wasting our time.
Because I'll say this, with my time, right? I think the only time that we really get involved in politics is when it's time to vote in these types of elections. And a gentleman by the name of Roger Royal told me, he was like, the city of Birmingham, they don't vote you in, they vote you out. They don't vote you in, they vote you out. Like, people only use their political power when they get upset. And I mean, I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing. I mean, I guess, you know, being passionate about, you know, how you feel about your city, if that's enough to motivate you to get involved, then good. But don't let it just be for times like this where you just mad at me because you feel like, you know, I didn't do something for you. Like, be mad at, you know, month to month at the neighborhood association meetings. Voice those opinions there, you know. Be mad enough to get somebody else to come to the neighborhood association meeting so that they can be engaged and involved. So yeah, my name is JT Moore and I approve this message.
Let's give it up for, he's gathering here for Mr. Moore for coming out and facing great citizens of District 4. Thank you, Facebook. Thank you, Facebook. There were over 1,000 live views on Facebook Live. This will also be rebroadcast. Tonight's sponsors are of District 4 Candidate Runoff Forum, the Committee to Save Jefferson County, you heard from Mr. Muhammad, the Black Contractors Association, Inc., and Birmingham City Retirees. And let's give it up for our host facility tonight, Bethel Baptist Church of Collegeville, Reverend Dr. Thomas L. Wallace Jr., for opening the room up and the sanctuary up to this great community. I am your host, Sheila Smoot. Give it up for the Forum Girls, Miss Marcia. Our timekeeper, Sarah, I feel like Kiki Shepherd, I'm sorry. Okay, and to Jarvis Escott, who is with First Impressions Media. I'm Sheila Smoot. Thank you, and don't forget to vote. October 7th, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The polls are open. Choose wisely for the next 4 years. Mr.
Pastor Wilder, you mind if I pray us out?
Okay, prayers out, let's go.
Father God, we just come before you tonight just thanking you for this time of fellowship. We thank you for being with us. I just thank you for allowing your Holy Spirit to be with me tonight and be with each and every one of us. God, I just ask for traveling grace for each and every person that leaves here tonight, God. Thank you for allowing them to make it here safely. I thank you for allowing them to make it back home safely. And I thank you that, you know, regardless of the outcome, God, that you are involved. Whoever the leader is for this district, I pray that they be endowed with the wisdom that they need to lead the people, to be able to be a blessing, to increase the quality of life, and really just ensure that they represent you well and wear your name well. So God, thank you for blessing this district. Thank you for blessing each and every person that lives in it. And we just thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. And we'll see you next time. Don't forget, go out to the polls October 7th, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and go vote the second time, every time. I'm Sheila Smoot. We'll see you next time. Be safe, and thank you for joining us.
More to come.